I don't think this is a good idea, Ragnar. What if he gets hurt or killed? There's no guarantee that he'll be safe here.
For Odin's sake, Lagertha, we've talked about this a million times. I know you love our boy, I do too. But we are both certain that Bjorn will die at the hand of our enemies if we don't hide him here. Besides, we'll always watch and keep him safe wherever he is.
Until we're dead, that is.
Lagertha spat back, but Ragnar simply hugged her tight and got into the spaceship. Reluctantly, Lagertha followed him into the spaceship and shed tears as they flew out of Earth to finish the war on their planet, leaving behind their newborn son and only child, Bjorn. Ever wondered what it's like to live among aliens on a planet that's not yours? Well, that's exactly what my life was. Sit back, relax, and keep watching to hear my amazing story. Yeah, don't forget to like and subscribe if you ever want to gain superpowers.
I can't believe you're making me do this. We're not young anymore, Martha.
But do you regret coming out?
Martha asked as she lay on her husband's chest on a mat under the skies.
Absolutely not. These beautiful stars remind me of my beautiful wife.
Martha laughed.
You animal.
Her husband always knew how to make her blush. Suddenly, a heavy rain began. It didn't even drizzle. It just came down with full force and got them soaked immediately. As they tried to pack up and run inside, they heard a baby crying in the distance. Mark tried to stop Martha, but she ran and picked the baby up with all his belongings, and they all entered the house. That baby was me, Matthew. After pondering over what to do with me and cursing whoever left a newborn under the rain, Mark and Matthew decided to adopt me since they couldn't have a child of their own. They gave me the name Matthew. I grew up like any normal child. I never knew I was different, and my parents never told me. Things started to change when I turned 16, though. We were having a lecture, but I wasn't listening. The teacher noticed this and decided to embarrass me by asking me a simple question. I wasn't listening, so I didn't even understand what he was talking about.
I can't be struggling to teach while students just choose not to listen to me. Why don't you excuse us, Matthew?
As I picked up my bag and packed up my books, I angrily replied, "Well, why don't you go jump from a window?" While looking straight into the teacher's eyes to make him understand that I wasn't scared of him. Suddenly, our teacher went straight to the window and opened it. He looked scared out of his mind, but he just kept moving. It was almost like he didn't want to do it, but had to. The class started panicking, screaming, and running around when he climbed up the window and was about to jump. Everyone was begging him to come down, but he didn't listen. He just stood there, dazed. As he was about to leap off the window, two teachers ran in and forcefully grabbed him, dragging him back into the class. The teacher started shouting,
"Thank you! Thank you! Thank you!"
over and over again, like he had just snapped out of a spell. I freaked out and went back home, pretending to be sick when my parents asked why I was home. Mom decided to make me a special vegetable soup to make me feel better. After preparing it, she invited me to the dining table and gave me the soup. I tasted it, but didn't like it, so I complained. Mom came close to me trying to feed me the soup, telling me that it would make me feel better. But I knew that I wasn't sick, so there was no need to take the horrible soup. "Mom, you know what would make me feel better? Pancakes. Please, could you make me some pancakes?" I said while looking into her eyes and giving her the puppy dog face.
Ha 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 ha!
Dad laughed, and I laughed along with him. We both knew that Mom wasn't going to make me any pancakes. She was a devoted health nut and made sure we ate only healthy food, and pancakes, according to her, were not one of them. My mom left without a word, got into her car, and drove off.
That's weird.
Dad and I said in unison.
She didn't even tell us where she was going.
A few minutes later, she came back with supplies: flour, milk, eggs, sugar, and more. Everything we needed to make pancakes. I was squealing happily, but Dad knew something was off. He didn't say anything though, he just quietly observed. When the three of us were done devouring the delicious pancakes, Mom suddenly acted like she'd snapped out of a trance.
You guys made pancakes in my house?
Nope, you made pancakes for us in your house.
What? And you ate them?
This was when I realized that I'd done something to my mother, just like I'd done with the teacher back in school. I felt disappointed in myself, so I quickly ran into my room. My parents followed me and sat beside me on my bed.
Sweetheart, tell us what really happened in school today.
I confessed and told them everything while they shared a knowing look between each other. Why are you guys looking at each other like that? What are you not telling me? Why can I do all these things?
We always knew you were special, my boy. When we saw the container you were in as a baby and the personal items you were left with, we knew that you weren't of this world.
I don't understand.
Let us explain.
And they explained how they found me. I felt hurt and betrayed, realizing that the people I thought were my real parents all these years actually weren't. I told them to leave me alone in my room, and they obliged. My parents advised me to only use my powers for good and not to control people unnecessarily. They told me that they could only advise me, but everything else was up to me. They weren't going to stop me from being free. I decided to use my powers for only good, just like my parents had advised. I set up a behavioral class to help people become the best version of themselves, and it was free for all of my schoolmates. I became kind of a mini therapist because I realized that over time, I could also read people's minds, but only if they let me in and surrender all freedom to me, kind of like hypnotherapy. Through this, I was able to reach out to bullies, heal their insecurities, and make them better people. I convinced people to work harder and make better grades, and I made the lives of so many students better. When word got out about how successful my classes were, adults started reaching out, saying they wanted me to help them solve their problems. I decided to charge them huge amounts of money, and they were all willing to pay. When I told my parents about this, they happily gave me the go-ahead, and suddenly, I was bringing in so much money, and it changed our lives for the better. On one particular occasion, I was trying to get through to a new client, but he refused to let me in. I asked him why he came to me for help, and he didn't want my help. We'd had 5 sessions already, but there'd been no progress. I could have continued with the charade and just kept collecting money for every new session, but I wanted to help, so I used my powers to make him talk. Who are you? Why are you here? And what do you need my help with? Tell me everything, I said while looking straight into his eyes. The man started talking. He told me that he was part of a secret organization that hunted down people who had special powers, testing everything about them in a lab until they're able to come up with a serum that they can use to make soldiers with the same or even better powers than the original person had. He came because his son, a classmate of mine, told him that there was something different about me. He didn't need my help. He just needed me to slip up and show him my powers so he could take me away. He snapped out of the trance immediately after he said all this and tried to call for backup, but I stopped him. Stop. Sit tight right here for 24 hours. Do not move, no matter what. Do you understand? He nodded. I quickly drove home and told my parents what I had encountered. We packed up a few things, got into the car, and started moving. We drove as fast as we could, heading to the airport, but we were suddenly surrounded. That man had managed to free himself from the state I put him in, and he was standing right in front of us. They forced us all to get out of the car. I tried using my powers on the soldiers, but they were wearing glasses that stopped me from seeing their eyes.
This is very simple, Matthew, or whatever your real name is. Get into my car.
The impending danger caused a new power of mine to come bubbling to the surface. I was raising cars with my mind and about to send them raining down on the evil man when he and a colleague of his put guns to my parents' head.
Make any sudden move and I'll shoot.
As I got distracted, the cars fell and I heard a huge bang on my head, making me pass out. I woke up in a strange place. My hands, legs, and stomach were suspended with metal bars, and my eyes were covered. I was lying down. I tried using my telekinesis to remove the things covering my eyes, but I couldn't, and I noticed that it was because of the metal bars that covered my whole hands. I heard that strange voice again.
Bjorn, you're awake. So sorry for the inconvenience.
Spare me the lies, please.
How rude of me, I never introduced myself properly. My real name is Ube. Nice to meet you.
What kind of stupid name is Oob? Were your parents stupid too? Oob laughed.
On the contrary, the name Ube is a lot more special than yours.
I don't think anyone would prefer the name Oob over Matthew.
Not Matthew. Your real name is Bjorn.
I don't know what you're talking about. Why don't you release me so we can have a more civilized conversation?
I definitely will when we're done.
Done with what? Where are my parents?
You mean your kidnappers? They're safe in my dungeon.
I swear to God, if anything happens to them, I'll mess you up.
Yeah, right.
He laughed.
You won't.
I could feel him coming close to me, and next thing, a needle was in my heart. He was releasing a liquid into my chest, and it hurt like hell. I tried struggling, but it was all to no avail.
There, almost done.
Suddenly, there was a loud bang, and something huge hit the wall and came in. Unfortunately, I couldn't see it. I heard 2 footsteps and 2 people walked down from it. Was it the cops? Could it be my parents, I thought?
Hello, Uba.
A deep, masculine voice said.
Aren't you tired of losing already? Why aren't you dead? How did you survive?
I didn't understand what was going on. That was definitely not my dad's voice, and that man couldn't be a cop either.
I came for my last mission, to get rid of the son you chose over me.
Son? Who, me? I wondered. Could this be my real father?
You choose your fate, my son. And now, I'm going to choose his as well.
A fight ensued, and in the process, whatever that was covering my face was removed. I saw what had previously crashed into the building, and it was a weird-looking spaceship. A woman smiled down at me and removed all the metal holdings, and by moving her fingers, she absorbed the liquid in my heart and poured it on the floor. Then, she held me, and we teleported into the spaceship where I met my parents. Mom, Dad, you're okay, I screamed and hugged them tightly. The woman that saved me looked disappointed.
We're so happy you're okay.
They hugged back.
These are your real parents.
I turned and was shocked to discover that the woman that had saved me and the man battling with Oob outside the spaceship were my parents.
I'm sorry, Bjorn. We'll explain everything once we get home, but for now, I can give you a recap. Uba was born without any power and it made him jealous and eventually turned him evil. He tried killing you and destroying the planet, but we were able to hide you on Earth without his knowledge, and we've been fighting him and his minions ever since.
My real dad entered the spaceship holding Oob like a chicken. He locked him in a cage that electrocuted him every time he moved, so he had to stay very still.
It took us many years, but we were able to defeat him and the revolution and save the planet. In our last scuffle, he figured out that you were still alive and on Earth, so he came to find you, take your powers, and kill you. Unfortunately, he has failed and will be locked up for the rest of his life.
My real mother came close to me and knelt.
We're sorry that you had to go through this because of your brother.
Wait a minute, I interrupted her. This demon, Oob, is my brother?
Yes.
My mom laughed.
Well, we've disowned him for his evil ways, so he can't be king anymore. You will be the one to take over the throne.
Me? A king?
Yes, my love.
My mom patted my head.
I hate you all! I will kill you all!
Oob screamed but got electrocuted and knocked out by the cage he was in.
We've been watching you all your life, and we're grateful to this magnificent couple that took care of you. They will live with us in our palace and be rewarded for the rest of their lives, unless they want to go back to Earth.
Definitely not.
Mark and Martha chorused. We all burst into laughter and took deep breaths of relief as we flew safely to our new home and planet.